Dear Miko, thank you very much. Welcome everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to open this very interesting conference on investment-led growth strategies and for growth and jobs in Europe. I have had the privilege to work as a senior economist at the Foundation for European Progressive Studies for the past 3 years, and I'm really honored to represent this institution here today. FEPS is a think tank, a research center based in Brussels, which has as a core objective that of creating a bridge between academia, policymakers, and civil society. As such, we conduct research in collaboration with high-level academics, such as, for example, Professor Stephanie Griffith-Jones of IPD Columbia, which is here with us today, and co-organize events across Europe on a variety of issues which all have in common the promotion of social democracy and the consolidation of the European project. I started working at FEPS in the midst of the economic and financial crisis, and it was already evident then that austerity policies were not the solution to the economic problems afflicting Europe. Since the onset of the crisis, FEPS we've been advocating for the need of more progressive and for an alternative economic approach to the crisis. In particular, together with Professor Stephanie Griffith-Jones, we've been advocating for a strategy for Europe that puts investment, both in physical and social infrastructure, at the core of a new economic paradigm for Europe, where sustainable growth and jobs really take center stage. And 3 years on, we now see that also European institutions are taking some, although I believe, small steps forwards to move away from an economic approach which is just based on austerity policies. As we all know, in November 2014, the European Commission President Juncker has presented his investment plan for Europe. And we believe at FEPS, and I believe that this is a good starting point, although it is becoming more and more evident that the proposed measures are clearly not enough to stimulate sufficiently investment in Europe. There are still significant concerns around the investment plan for Europe and more broadly on the role that investment should really play in promoting sustainable economic recovery in Europe. And today, really, the objective of this conference will be to discuss some of these concerns, to present some concrete policy alternatives for Europe, and to discuss the role that development banks, such as the European Investment Bank, can play in promoting economic recovery in Europe. Indeed, there are some crucial and critical questions that need to be discussed. For instance, in relation to the investment plan. For instance, the issue of the size of the investment plan for Europe. Is the proposed 150 billion euros investment sufficient to significantly stimulate investment in Europe, or do we need a much bigger plan? Another question is on the leverage. So the European Commission has argued for a 16 billion euros guarantee for setting up a new fund, a new investment fund. And they argue that this will create a leverage of 15. So in other words, is it really realistic to assume that every euro invested in this fund will generate 15 euros of resources for investment? And also, what would be the impact of continued austerity policies on this investment plan? And finally, where to invest, which sectors of the economy? And also, is investment in physical infrastructure sufficient to generate jobs and growth? And why the investment plan does not include any provision for investment in social infrastructure, which includes the care economy and educational services. And these are some of the questions that our panelists will address today, and I very much look forward to a very interesting and instructive debate. So to conclude, I would like to also take this opportunity to thank both Miko Mayanda, Director of Kalevi Sorsa, and Antti Alaya, the researcher at Kalevi Sorsa, for the great cooperation and collaboration with FEPS over the years. We're always very, very delighted to co-organize with you such interesting events like the one today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Giovanni. This event can be followed also via internet. There's a live stream on our home pages, and I think the video clips from presentations will be available there afterwards. And of course, in the age of social media, you can also comment this event on Twitter, which the address is on the board over there.